I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.
Hello fellow nerds and crafters. Today I'm going to be working on the Collab Crafting Together collab organized by Toni from Georgies Gorgeous Gifts. I'm going to use this giant D20 mold I have here, and I'm going to make a ocean beach theme into the D20. So I'm going to fill it up a little bit, put in one of these molds I have, well, not molds, I'm going to make the resin item and then I'm going to put it in there, and then I'm going to fill it up a bit more, and then I'm going to add sand and some shells and things like that inside, all of it in the D20, so a giant diorama D20 is what I'm planning. So the 20 will be the top, so I'm going to be placing whatever one of these things I choose to go upside down in there. So for the manta ray, I'm going to use this Twilight Silver by Rolio. And then I'm going to use Terracotta and Mud Pie Brown for the two turtles. So this is what I found when I looked for sea turtles. So what I'm planning on doing is doing the little dots in the Mud Pie Brown. And I'm going to do that on the fin flipper leg things and the head of the turtle in both of the molds. I'm not sure why I didn't, on the flat one, use the terracotta first, because it would have been easier for cleanup, but that's what I decided to do on the second turtle. I'm going to put terracotta in the shell, and then I'm going to go in with the Mud Pie Brown, and I'm going to put the dots on the flippers and head after I clean it all up. So once I was done with that more 3D turtle, I did go into the flat turtle, and I added the terracotta to the shell portion of that one as well. So like I mentioned, Crafting Together is organized by Toni from Georgies Gorgeous Gifts. And the theme is picked on the 1st of every month, and then you upload your video on the 26th. So this month's theme was beach. And hopefully this comes out beachy enough. I was worried that it would be a little bit too oceany themed. So once that's done, I'm going to take Let's Resin's mica powder in seashell, and I'm going to mix that into resin. And again, the other Rolio Twilight color is going to be mixed into resin, and I'm just going to pour that in. I wasn't sure if I wanted something that was a silhouette or what would actually fit in my D20 mold, so that's why I went with the 3 of these, just to give myself some options. Once they're all filled up, I just put them in the pressure pot. I really like the silver color from Rolio, and actually like the shape of the stingray as well. And I think this flat turtle still came out really cute. I think it'll make a good keychain because, spoilers, I am going to end up using this 3D modeled turtle instead. Because I think it came out really, really nice. So what I've done here is I just took some UV resin and I stuck the turtle on with a toothpick and onto a popsicle stick at the hopefully desired height in my D20. And I'm just gonna have to place it in sort of sideways and hope that I don't break it off the stick when I put it in there. And I've mixed up a little bit of blue resin. I just want to fill it right to the edge of the turtle. I'm trying to avoid the layer lines by catching this before it's fully cured, but I also can't go over the stick because then I won't be able to get the stick out of the resin. So I poured enough in and set it up in the middle and then put it in my pressure pot. Came back an hour and a half later and it did slide a little bit to the side. My pressure pot is level, so I'm not sure why it was moving, but it moved, but that's okay. I'm using some pliers to get down into the mold to pull off the toothpick. I'm trying not to create any gaps in the sides of the dice mold because I don't want any layered, strange resin stuff happening. I'm just got this window, I think. I think I could have done it a little bit earlier, but I was worried about pulling the turtle out when I tried to pull the toothpick out. So I've mixed up some more resin, same color, and poured that into the mold. And then that goes back into the pressure pot. I tried to catch it again, but with the heat of all of the resin, I was too late. It wasn't tacky anymore. So I'm doing another very thin layer of blue resin again, and I'm going to put in my shells and starfish and these little beads that I have. And I'm just going to place them in randomly, honestly, because I can't really see through the mold, so I can't see how they'll look from the top. I just have to hope that it looks good. So once I am happy with all of the placement, I will put it into the pressure pot again. Once that is all cured, I'm taking some sand and some May Springs Dazzling Diamond. I'm not sure if you're actually going to be able to see that in the sand, but I thought I would put it in anyway. And then I'm just going to add half of my resin and mix it up. I made way too much resin for this. I ended up with a bunch of extra stuff because the sand took up a lot more space than I realized. I sprayed a little bit of alcohol in there to help slide the sand around easier. And I gave it some taps and knocks and squishes with my stick and everything just to try and make sure that it was down in all of the crevices. And I thought there was a bit of alcohol on top, so I just used my paper towel to soak that up. And then I sprayed a little bit of alcohol on the one face there so that no bubbles would be created. And once I have the lid on, that goes into the pressure pot to cure. I was hoping this was my last layer, but unfortunately you'll see here that it sunk. So I decided I was going to do another last layer. So you can see this huge hole in the middle where it sunk, so I just clipped off that one so that it wouldn't cause any issues and filled it up with some clear resin with the Mayspring Dazzling Diamond, sprayed the top of the one again, and put the lid back on. I also left a lot of extra resin so that hopefully if it sinks again, it would sink into the hole and fill up the space. And I did push it because I knew there was a hole there, so I gave it a squish with my stick to try and push out any bubbles and refilled it with some resin. So here we are for demold. I had a lot of extra resin on top still that didn't get sucked down into that hole. So I peeled that off first. And the one did show up. It was indented, which is great, but there was still a few bubble holes that I didn't manage to push out. So I'm going to fix those right away before I demold. And to do that, I'm just going to take some UV resin. This one's from J. Diction, and I'm just going to put a little bit on my table and take a little stick and fill up those holes, and that will all get cleaned up when I sand and polish this. Unfortunately for this project, I wasn't actually able to finish the sanding and polishing, but I will do it later. Then I'm just gonna chop off that little nub that's left over to make it easier for sanding and polishing. And this time I do have my water and soap mixture here, so I'm just gonna loosen up the numbers and the sides here first. Then I'll spray in the soapy water. And I'll massage it around the mold. And wipe off the top so that my hands don't slip when I'm trying to demold it. And I slowed this back down to real time so that you can see how easily this slips out of the mold when I'm using soapy water. Of course, it's all wet and soapy now, so it does need a good clean off. I was pretty happy with how this was looking, but I did notice some marks on it, and I think those marks came from the sprays of alcohol. I think the alcohol dried on the mold or stuck to the mold and left those little markings. Other than that, it looks really good, and when I do finish this off and I sand and polish, I might try to polish those markings off to see if that works. If not, I'm just going to say they're little water ripples or something. I didn't get it finished in time for the photos though, because I was late on this project with how many pours I needed to do for it. So I don't have the polishing done and I don't have the numbers done, but here are the finished photos. And if you have any ideas of what I should color in the numbers, please let me know in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. check out the playlist in my description box for everybody else's crafting together beach theme videos, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!